Coming up today, President Park Geun-hye orders the nation's top security officials to come up with swift and effective responses to the multi-pronged and evolving threat posed by North Korea. Laying out his plans for the year, South Korea's new finance minister says job creation is his top priority. He also urges Parliament to pass long-pending economy-related bills. Plus, China's central bank pumps tens of billions of dollars into the country's financial system in a bid to ensure liquidity over the upcoming Lunar New Year's holiday. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello and welcome. It's 6 a.m. on Friday, January 22nd, here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom, and you're tuned in to our early morning edition of Arirang News. Our top story this morning, President Park Geun-hye is calling for coordinated efforts from South Korea's security forces to ensure the country stays safe. Her comments are in recognition of the seriousness of the national security situation facing South Korea following North Korea's recent nuclear test. Our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun starts us off.
President Park Geun-hye said North Korea's latest nuclear test has once again threatened peace and stability on the Korean peninsula and in the region. Speaking at the Central Integrated Defense meeting, which he chaired for the third year, the president called for full defense readiness and improvements in the country's national security structure.
정부는 북한이 마땅한 대가를 치르도록 UN 차원의 대북 제재를 비롯해서 가능한 모든 실효적 수단을 추진해 나갈 것입니다. 이런 상황에서 더욱 염려가 되는 것은 북한의 대남 도발과 군사적 위협이 갈수록 교묘해지고 있어서 한반도의 안보 불확실성도 더욱 증대될 위험이 크다는 것입니다.
She ordered stronger countermeasures against biological, cyber, and terror attacks from any entity or country, including North Korea, as such attacks have the potential to incite chaos with just one hit. The meeting held Thursday was attended by members of the president's cabinet and over 230 officials from Korea's spy agency, the military, the prosecutor's office, the police, and local governments. President Park asked the country's national security forces to bolster their efforts toward coordination and cooperation. She also repeated her call to lawmakers to pass a pending counterterrorism bill, urging them to do more to guarantee the safety of the people. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
And President Park Geun-hye will receive annual reports on this Friday from the Foreign, Defence and Unification Ministries. During the policy plan briefing, President Park will urge the ministries to exert every effort for a tougher UN Security Council resolution against North Korea following its fourth nuclear test earlier this month. She's also expected to ask the ministry officials to stay on high alert in preparation for any possible provocation from the North, including a cyber attack, and to respond in an immediate and firm manner. Now, unfazed by mounting challenges like plunging oil prices and China's slowing growth, Korea's new finance minister has announced his priorities for the year, and they centre on one task in particular. Our economics correspondent Hwang Ji-ae has the details.
New Finance Chief Yoo Il-ho has made clear that he will put job creation above everything else he has on his to-do list this year. During his first meeting with economy-related ministers on Thursday, Yoo stressed the importance of completing structural reforms in order to attain this goal and vowed to pour efforts into the swift passage of a set of pending economy bills at the National Assembly this month. He also said the government will find fresh growth engines and breathe new life into the economy by balancing exports and domestic demand, some key issues reported during a policy briefing earlier this month.
By carrying out key policies that were announced in the briefing, we will focus on realizing tangible growth for the public.
In February, Korea will announce a set of measures to boost investment in new markets like biohealth and the sports industry. The government will also lay out plans to further promote promising consumer goods such as agricultural and beauty products in March as part of its effort to maximize the benefits of Korea's free trade deal with China. Although the finance minister did express concerns over the country's sluggish exports, coming mainly on the back of the slowing Chinese economy, he emphasized that Korea can find a way out by penetrating the construction market in Iran, where international sanctions have recently been lifted. Hwang Jie, Arirang News.
Now, Korea's two main rival parties remain no closer to a compromise on a number of crucial economy-related bills that have just been gathering dust at the National Assembly. So, with a number of deadlines approaching and a general election on the horizon in mid-April, in fact, the ruling party has moved to end the deadlock that has practically paralysed parliamentary activity for months now. Our National Assembly correspondent, Ji Myung-gil, has the details.
The ruling Saenuri Party is urging Assembly Speaker Chung Lee-hwa to bypass the opposition and use his authority to bring a list of long-pending labor and economy bills up for a vote without bipartisan consent.
I would sincerely ask the Assembly Speaker to use his authority to set up the parliamentary schedule, including a date for the next plenary session. We were unable to fix a new schedule due to the opposition's uncooperative manner.
The floor leader stressed that under Article 76 of the National Assembly law, lawmakers have a duty to end legislative paralysis, and said this is the last chance to bring the bills to the floor before a parliamentary election in April. The speaker refused, saying there were no legal grounds for him to do so. The main opposition Minju Party accused the ruling party of trying to railroad the bills, including one on redrawing the nation's electoral map.
The ruling party says it's important to pass the redistricting bill quickly, as the general election is nearing. But they also say they can't pass the bill without tying it to 5 pending labor reform bills. They've taken the redistricting bill hostage.
Despite a series of talks stretching over the past year, the rival parties have failed to reach agreement on a new electoral map due to differences over the number of proportional representatives. The old electoral map expired on December 31st, following a constitutional court ruling that said a new one was called for due to population changes. Now, with the election in April and the end of the current parliamentary term in May fast approaching, there is growing concern that lawmakers will have difficulty getting the job done, as many will soon be focused on their re-election campaigns. Ji Myung-gil, Arirang News.
Now, the Internet of Things, robotics, driverless cars and 3D printers. These are just some of the key technologies that will lead the so-called fourth industrial revolution. Now, countries with advanced economies are expected to benefit the most from these developments. But where does Korea stand? Our Kim Min-ji reports from the World Economic Forum in Davos.
The theme at this year's World Economic Forum is Mastering the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It's where cutting-edge technologies are becoming embedded in our daily lives, making everything faster and more convenient. But is the world ready to adapt? According to Swiss bank UBS, advanced countries are. Switzerland topped the list, followed by Singapore, the Netherlands, Finland, and the United States. Korea ranked 25th among 139 countries. The ability to adapt to the fourth industrial revolution was measured in 5 categories: labor market flexibility, educational system, infrastructure, technological ability, and legal protection. Korea's former finance chief, Choi Kyung-hwan, who is representing Seoul and Davos as a special presidential envoy, says Korea's creative economy drive is in line with the fourth industrial revolution. The creative economy drive is aimed at merging different sectors and turning creative ideas into new business opportunities to create new jobs and industries. Speaking at a press conference, Che said Korea needs to pursue new industry policies.
Having the right infrastructure is important. In order for our creative economy drive to work, we have to strip back regulations. As it stands, it's difficult to be innovative. Therefore, we have to cut back on red tape. Secondly, Korea needs to have an ecosystem which can tend to such developments.
Korea's former finance chief also emphasized the need for a flexible labor market and a workforce that can keep up with the rapid pace of technological developments and industry trends. Che was a panelist at a session held on Wednesday under the name Regions in Transformation East Asia. He noted that emerging economies need to strengthen their safety nets amid increasing global uncertainties to prevent a repeat of the Asian financial crisis of 1997 and 98. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News, Davos.
Now, given that the theme of this year's forum is the fourth industrial revolution, one of the hottest topics at Davos is robotics. Guan Sua got the chance to meet the most popular humanoid robot participant at this year's event, Korea's very own Hubo.
Korea's presence at the World Economic Forum is being boosted by none other than a robot. The special guest was invited to Davos this year and has become the talk of the town, even getting a name check from the forum's founder himself, Klaus Schwab.
2,400 people who are here, plus Robot Hubo.
With the fourth industrial revolution all about speedy and intelligent technologies, expectations are higher than ever for what the second wave of robotics might entail.
It may be still far from looking like a human, but when it comes to completing complex tasks, this humanoid robot may become your superhero in emergency situations in the future.
I'm very proud that KAIST's Hubo is being exhibited here. World-class companies, business leaders, and important government figures have all shown great interest. I'm proud as Hubo shows the world how good Korea's technology is.
Hubo, developed at KAIST, or the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, was the winner of last year's DARPA Robotics Challenge, a competition to find robots that can assist humans in responding to natural and man-made disasters. The robot's creator, Professor Oh Jun-ho, stresses that Hubo is still in its experimental stages.
Ultimate goal would be that the Hubo robot could solve all the existing problems in disaster scene, but it might be quite impossible in near future. So at this moment, I would like to make it possible to be used for other applications, other research groups, to be used for research purposes at this moment.
Kwon So-ah, Arirang News, Davos.
Now, China's central bank has injected tens of billions of dollars into its financial system to help support the economy ahead of the Lunar New Year's holiday. And the latest announcement marks the third cash injection this week alone. Shin Se-min reports.
The People's Bank of China continued to ease liquidity strains for its financial system, injecting a total of $114.4 billion of cash, all announced on Thursday. China's central bank said it would pump in 400 billion yuan, or $60 billion, using reverse repurchase agreements, the most in 3 years. And this will be followed by another injection of 352 billion yuan, or $53 billion, via the midterm lending facility. The world's second-largest economy is aiming to counter the rising threat of capital outflow, which is expected to coincide with the Chinese Lunar New Year's holiday, a time when the demand for cash rises. During the whole holiday week starting February 8th, China's entire financial system will be shut down, with the demand for cash expected to rise by some $455 billion. It's the second kind of liquidity support made by China's central bank this week. Earlier on Tuesday, the People's Bank of China injected $91 billion into the banking system through short and mid-term loans to its lenders, a move considered a substitute for monetary easing. China has been trying to hold borrowing costs down to help prop up the economy without prompting a capital flight. According to Bloomberg, an estimated $843 billion of capital flew out of China in the 11 months through November of last year, pressing policymakers to inject funds into the financial system to prevent interest rates from rising. The liquidity support is considered a substitute for a reverse requirement ratio, as overdoing it could put too much downward pressure on short-term interest rates, eventually destroying efforts to stabilize capital flows. Shin Se-min, Arirang News.
Now, the European Central Bank has announced that its key interest rates will remain unchanged at record low levels. Revealing the decision at a press conference on Thursday, the bank's president, Mario Draghi, also gave a strong hint that the ECB will ramp up its stimulus efforts at its next meeting in March. His comments come amid a gloomier outlook for Eurozone growth and inflation due to the ongoing global market turmoil, China's slowdown and tumbling oil prices. Now, the euro turned down against the dollar, but European markets closed up. Britain's FTSE finished nearly 1.8% higher, while Germany's DAX and France's CAC 40 added almost 2% each. The European Parliament has expressed its support for meaningful and effective sanctions on North Korea for its latest nuclear test. Members of the European Parliament on Thursday voted in favour of a resolution that strongly condemned the test, calling it an unnecessary and dangerous provocation that violated UN Security Council resolutions. It also denounced the systematic, widespread and grave violations of human rights in North Korea, and called on the international community to take concrete action to refer the situation to the International Criminal Court. The resolution called on China to exert more political and financial pressure on North Korea to ensure peace and security in the region. Well, that's all we have for now on this Friday morning here in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. Thank you as always for tuning in, and we'll be back throughout the day with more newscasts. Until then, goodbye.